I know why we never returned to the moon. My search for the truth had finally yielded some success. Oh, where do I even start? I've mentioned that my grandfather knew some people here and there. He even introduced me to some of them, and I convinced myself to contact one such person who works at NASA. Unfortunately, he couldn't help me, but he gave me a contact for someone who possibly can. The other person didn't help me either, but they bounced me back and forth between about 10 other people, until I finally met this guy who actually knew what I was talking about. Well, I didn't meet him, only on the internet, but you get it. Obviously, I won't reveal his identity or any more information than what I'm going to write here. He wasn't very friendly when I first got in touch with him. When I asked him if he knew anything about Dawnbreaker, he almost hung me up straight away. Who told you about this? You're playing with things you don't understand, young man. Jacob Miller was my grandfather, I explained. He went silent for a few seconds. I see. I suppose we wouldn't be able to hide this forever. I can help you. Not because you asked me, but because it's time. But I warn you, there are things you don't want to know. He mailed me a flash drive, and in a very complicated way explained to me what to do with it. The drive was just a dummy, and after I took it apart, it revealed a micro SD card. I don't know if I'm doing the right thing by posting it to the internet, because what you're about to read is going to give you many answers, but open even more questions. The SD card contained a transcript of what was probably an audio recording in Russian. Same as with my grandfather's message, I'll rewrite the contents below. Material hashtag IEM663. Source, record hashtag EM13 at first dawn 1. Notes, transcript, translated from Russian by, blank. Damn piece of crap. Is it working? Oh, thank God, it is. Apologize my rude introduction. My name is Leonid Ivanovich Tarkov. I was a cosmonaut at the Kamchatka station. Now, let's cut the crap and get straight to the point. You know that we are here and you've been spying on us with your little Stay Putnik for a while, and while I hate giving this to you, I hope you'll use this information well because I have no other hope. In case you've really been living under a rock, I'll explain what's going on. We've been here for 2 months now. Me, Lenko, Novak and Commander Polyakov. God bless their souls. Our station is tiny but serves us well. It is a small dome with 4 rooms, a laboratory, a storage room, a machine room and a central living area. Our purpose was to research the moon and its structure. Long before you, Americans, found out, we already knew about the crater anomaly. On every other celestial body, the size and depth of a crater vary depending on the strength of the impact, but their shape should stay consistent. But on the moon, it is not like this. The craters here are too shallow. They never extend below a certain depth. We placed this station in one particularly large and deep crater with hopes to learn more about this curious phenomenon. All was going well until we started digging. It was the 64th day of the expedition. We all gathered there to watch the result of our hard work. The drill was a true engineering marvel, designed specifically for this mission. The plan was to drill a hole as deep as we could. Ready to start rolling, comrades? Excitingly asked Lenko, our engineer. We all cheered, and after he hit the switch, the drill came to life. Silence transitioned to buzzing, buzzing transitioned to spinning, and spinning transitioned to drilling. I was very proud of being here, doing a service to the Union, but I looked forward to returning to Earth. This was the first step on our journey home. After we made sure that all was going well, we started packing and heading home. Naturally, Lenko was last. Since he behaved as if the drill was his little child he must watch over. What do you guys think is down there? He asked as he rushed to catch up with us. Our equipment couldn't pick up anything below some 5 meters under the surface, so there must be a layer of some very dense mineral, or maybe some unknown element. Who knows? Elaborated Novak, our geologist. I think we're going to find cheese, I said, and we all laughed. Even Commander Polyakov chuckled. I was wrong. We all were so wrong. The drill jammed the next day. Lenko and Novak went there to elaborate, while I stayed at the base with the commander. He didn't talk much, and when he did, it was mostly to criticize someone. He was the kind of person who wasn't satisfied no matter what you did, but deep down, he cared for us and we respected him for that. Lenko and Novak later returned with a handful of sharp black rocks and rather surprising news. As we predicted, about 4 meters below the surface, there's a layer of this immensely hard black material. It is so hard in fact, that it broke the drill head, explained Novak. So, do you have any idea what it is? Asked the commander. Not yet. It might be some metastable crystalline mineral formed under high pressure. But we won't know what it is until I'll have a look at it. The next few days were very interesting. Me and Lenko spent almost all the time replacing the drill heads. Novak was completely consumed by studying that strange material. The fact that he didn't make much progress only fueled his amazement. I was just doing some maintenance on the drill with Lenko, when the drill suddenly plummeted down the hole, almost taking us with it. Did you see that? Asked Lenko with confusion. Of course, I did, you idiot. It almost pulled me into that hole, in case you didn't notice. I responded. I then realized he probably didn't mean the drill and I thought that he was going to say something, but he didn't. I looked into the hole. I pulled a glow stick out of the pocket of my suit, cracked it, and dropped it into the hole. It fell into some sort of a cavity. The rest of the team arrived shortly after, and the commander started cursing at the drill, then at us, and finally, he congratulated us to make the first major discovery on this rock. I knew what was going to happen next. Prepare your gear and get some sleep. We're going down there tomorrow, said Polyakov. When we returned to Kamchatka, Lenko insisted that he needs to service the exterior equipment. I thought that it was a bit odd, because he serviced the exterior 2 days prior, but our equipment breaks all the time, so I didn't consider it a big deal. I wanted to stay with him, so he wouldn't be left alone outside, but he refused with any possibility of convincing him, so I gave up on that. He returned inside some 30 minutes after we did, anyway. However, a couple of minutes after he came back, we heard a bang from the airlock. Then another. We rushed there, and Novak took a look out of the window. He widened his eyes and scanned the outside with a blank expression on his face. What is it? I asked. I don't know, he replied. Lenko, do you know what's going on? You returned last, inquired the commander. No, I swear I have no idea what that was, he answered. Novak continued watching the outside for a few seconds and then went back to continue his work, so we did as well. The next day we descended down the hole. The commander went down first, and then I followed. I rappelled down some 4 meters when I reached the layer of black material. As if it wasn't hard enough already to fit through the narrow opening with the suit on, I had to be careful not to cut the suit on the sharp jagged edges of the dark substance. I then got into a hollow section and descended some further 10 meters down, until I hit solid ground. It was pitch black, but with my headlight on, I saw that we were in a sort of cavern or dome. The walls were out of sight, but the floor was the same material like the ceiling. The drill was down there. It had collapsed down the hole when the ceiling gave way. We waited for the rest of the team and then headed into the darkness. After a few minutes, we sighted the wall. It was made out of the same material as I expected. Do you have any idea what this is, Novak? Asked Commander. I can't figure it out. It's like a tight-packed crystal, but I couldn't find out what it is made out of. It's completely inert, doesn't melt and doesn't conduct heat very well. He explained in return. We followed the wall and circled the whole cavity until we came back to where we started. The walls, the ceiling, and the floor were just this completely smooth black material. We headed back to the opening. However, on our way back, we came across another opening in the ground. There was a ramp that went down, like a spiral, and after hesitating for a while, we walked down. We descended into another smaller cavity, where tunnels extended in 4 directions like crossroads. Nobody asked the obvious question. This wasn't a natural formation. There was 4 of us in 4 tunnels. One might think we would split up to cover more ground, but again, we were soldiers, not a bunch of stupid school kids, and so we stuck together. We walked for maybe 40 minutes. We passed several other intersections. The whole place seemed like a maze or a web of tunnels, and it would be really easy to get lost there, so each time we passed such intersection, we left a glow stick in the mouth of the tunnel we came from. The whole place was eerie, and the farther we went, the more uneasy I felt. Somewhere deep in my mind, I felt that we are not supposed to be here. We just came to maybe the 10th or 11th intersection. We continued straight, but after a couple of steps, I noticed that Lenko wasn't by my side anymore. I turned back to see him looking into one of the side tunnels at the intersection. Guys, stop. I spoke to the radio. Lenko, what is it? He turned to face us and said, I don't know. Guys, I don't feel well. We need to go back. Something is not right down here. What followed happened so fast, but I felt like watching a slow-motion video. At one moment, he stood there, looking at us, but in the next moment, he was gone. Something pulled him into the tunnel. We ran back, and I wanted to follow, but Commander pulled me back. What are you doing? We can't leave him behind, I shouted. He's gone. We need to get out, otherwise, we are all dead, he said. He was right. This wasn't our world. Whatever took Lenko was still down here with us. We needed to get out. We ran back to where we came from. Running in such low gravity was awkward, but at least it was easier, so we didn't need to stop and catch our breath even with our heavy suits on. However, when we reached the next intersection, we stopped nonetheless. The glow stick wasn't there. As we soon learned, all of them were gone. At first, we remembered the way, but at some point, we probably took the wrong route, because we never reached the spiral ramp. We eventually reached something that seemed like a dead end. We wanted to head back, when we all heard and felt a thumping in the distance. There was obviously no air, so the sound probably traveled through the ground. Thump, 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 thump. Novak was the first one who panicked. Thump, 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 thump. Duck, what now? What are we going to do, Commander? Please, we have to do something. I want to go home, he shouted across the radio. Thump, 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 thump. The pounding got louder and louder. Or perhaps closer and closer. Thump, 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 thump. I was on the verge of panic as well, when I noticed that the wall in front of us wasn't a single piece. There was a groove running from the top to the bottom at the center. Help me with this, I said. Thump, 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 thump. With a combination of various tools, we managed to pry it open to reveal that the wall was a door. The sound was now so close, that I thought that if I looked back, I would have seen the source. But I didn't want to.